Have you ever glanced at the clock and seen 1111 again? Or maybe you keep noticing the same number on receipts, license plates, or even in your dreams. At first, it might seem like a quirky coincidence, a glitch in the matrix maybe. But what if I told you it's not random? That the number you keep seeing might actually be a direct message from your higher self? We live in a world that loves patterns. Our minds naturally look for them. But when a specific number follows you around like a quiet whisper in the background of your life, it's not your mind playing tricks. It's a nudge, a signal, a coded message wrapped in digits. In this video, we're going to unlock the hidden meaning behind the first number you see often. Not just the numerology or the pop spiritual explanations, but the deeper reason why you are seeing that number at this time in your life. We'll explore what it really means when a number refuses to leave you alone, and how your higher self uses these quiet nudges to wake you up, guide your choices, and shift your path. You'll discover the spiritual mechanics of number messages, the psychological reasons behind repeating patterns, real-world stories of people whose lives changed after noticing a certain number, and most importantly, how to receive and respond to the message your soul is trying to send. So stay with me until the end, because the number you keep seeing, it has something urgent to say, and it's time you finally heard it. Ready to decode the message? Let's begin. The language of the universe is subtle. The universe doesn't speak in words. It speaks in symbols, sensations, and synchronicities. And among its quietest yet most persistent tools? Numbers. Think about it. Numbers are everywhere. They structure our days, our money, our time, our measurements, even the way we record our memories. So when a certain number keeps showing up, again and again, it's not noise, it's a signal. Most people dismiss it. Oh, that's just my brain noticing patterns. But here's the truth. Your brain noticing is exactly the point. Your higher self, your soul, speaks through what your awareness is drawn to, not randomly, but precisely. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt stuck, and then suddenly a number, say 444 or 1212, began to appear everywhere? That number wasn't there to decorate your day. It was there to wake you up. Numbers are the alphabet of energy. Ancient mystics from the Egyptians to the Buddhists understood this. In Buddhist thought, the concept of interbeing, that everything is connected, is echoed in how numbers appear to guide us. What you notice reflects what you need. Still skeptical? Here's a shift. Instead of asking, "Is this just coincidence?" ask, "Why did I notice this just now?" That single question moves you from unconscious reaction to conscious reflection. Micro insight. Numbers don't intrude, they invite. There's something sacred about the number that keeps showing up in your life. And the moment you stop brushing it off as mere chance, you start a conversation with your higher self. And when that conversation begins, everything changes. If this feels familiar, if a number keeps tugging at your attention, let me know. In the comments, you're not alone. Numbers are not just symbols, they are energetic frequencies. Let's go deeper. What if numbers aren't just abstract representations, but actual carriers of vibrational energy? In many ancient traditions, including Pythagorean thought and Vedic philosophy, each number holds a specific energetic signature. These aren't just intellectual constructs, they're felt. The number 1 doesn't just mean beginning, it feels like a beginning. Assertive, focused. The number 7 evokes mystery, reflection, a spiritual turning inward. When a number repeatedly enters your awareness, it's not just speaking to your intellect, it's vibrating with your soul. Consider this. Why does 1111 make so many people pause and feel a strange sense of wonder? It's not because of a social trend. It's because it taps into a primal spiritual resonance. It's symmetry, a portal, a reminder that you are connected to something beyond the everyday noise. Modern science is slowly catching up. Quantum theory tells us that at the smallest level, everything is vibration. Numbers, as fundamental to structure and measurement, may be the interface between mind and matter, between the invisible and the seen. That's why when you keep seeing the same number, especially when your emotions are heightened, it's like a frequency beacon. Your higher self is aligning your external world with your inner transformation. Real-life reflection. A woman once shared how she kept seeing the number 911 during a time of personal collapse. It frightened her until she realized it was both a warning and a wake-up call. Not about disaster, but about spiritual urgency. She made a life-altering decision. She left an emotionally toxic relationship, and she's never seen 911 like that since. So what number keeps showing up for you, and how does it feel when you see it? Mini insight. The number isn't just showing you something, it's tuning you to something. Your higher self knows the language of vibration, and it's using numbers to help you rise to the frequency of your next chapter. If this idea speaks to your journey, give this video a like so it reaches others who need it. There's something special about the first number that starts following you. Maybe you've noticed many repeating numbers over the years, 111, 222, 333. But the first one, that's your origin point. It's where the message started. And often, it contains the deepest clue about your current spiritual path. Why is that? Because the first number often appears during a moment of vulnerability, uncertainty, or transformation. It's your soul's response to a subconscious question you've been asking, often one you haven't put into words yet. It's like your higher self tapping you on the shoulder and saying, "Start here." Take a moment and reflect. What was going on in your life when you first noticed this number? Were you ending a relationship? Feeling stuck in your career? Questioning your purpose? That number appeared because you needed an anchor, a sign, a lifeline back to your deeper truth. Buddhist philosophy teaches that awareness arises from suffering. In times of emotional turbulence, your consciousness expands and subtle signs start breaking through the fog. That's often when your first number arrives, not as decoration, but as direction. Psychologically, this aligns with the concept of reticular activation, the idea that your brain filters the world based on what it believes is important. Once your soul sets an intention, your awareness begins to notice things that match it. That number? It's one of those things. But unlike other signs, the first number stays with you. It's your personal, spiritual signature. Mini insight. The first number you notice is often your soul's way of saying, "Remember who you are." It's not about luck or superstition. It's about remembrance. That number has been with you, quietly, faithfully, waiting for you to listen. So the next time it appears, don't just nod and smile. Pause. Ask it what it wants you to know, and listen with your heart, not your mind. Because your higher self doesn't scream, it whispers. And that number? That's the whisper. When numbers appear, during emotional crossroads, there's a strange thing that happens when we're on the edge of change. Everything around us starts to speak louder. You might hear the same song over and over. Dreams become more vivid. And numbers? They show up like persistent echoes from another realm. This is not a coincidence. It's a spiritual emergency broadcast. When your life is in flux, when you're grieving, letting go, moving, or awakening, your defenses are down. And in that raw openness, your higher self seizes the chance to send a message. Not in words, but in numbers. Imagine this. Someone is contemplating leaving a job that drains them. They're unsure, fearful. Every time they open their phone, it's 5:55. Every grocery bill ends in 55. License plates, receipts, clocks, it won't stop. They Google it. Angel number 555. Change, transformation. Trust the process. And, suddenly, something inside shifts. Not because of a website, but because their soul already knew. The number just gave it permission to be heard. Emotion is the amplifier of spiritual messages. That's why numbers hit hardest when your heart is tender. Your mind may argue, but your soul recognizes truth. Buddhist wisdom reminds us that suffering isn't the enemy, it's the messenger. And when pain or confusion opens the door, subtle truths rush in. Numbers are often the first to arrive. Ask yourself, what were you feeling the last time the number showed up? Mini insight. Your emotional state is the doorway through which your higher self delivers its clearest instructions. Numbers don't just mark time, they mark moments, turning points, sacred thresholds. So if a number keeps showing up when your world feels uncertain, don't fear it. Welcome it. It's your inner wisdom putting its hand on your back, gently pushing you forward. If this resonates with your own experience, I'd love to hear your story in the comments. Others might need to hear it too. Numbers as breadcrumbs from the soul. Think of your life like a dense forest. At times, it's hard to see the path. You feel lost, unsure, overwhelmed. But scattered along the way, like glowing breadcrumbs, are numbers, placed not by fate, but by your higher self. Numbers don't just appear once, they recur. That's their power. They're gentle, persistent, and familiar. They remind you that you're not walking alone. Your higher self isn't a separate being. It's you, expanded, wiser, timeless. And when you get off course or hesitate to step forward, it doesn't scold or shout. It places signs where you can't ignore them. Those signs are numbers. There's a kind of compassion in how they work. You might forget your path. You might resist change, but the numbers stay, quietly pointing, patiently waiting. Real-life moment. A man shared how he kept seeing 333 during his divorce. At first, he thought it was superstition, but it kept showing up, everywhere. When he finally researched it, he found messages of encouragement, divine presence, and the power of spiritual support. That number became his daily reminder. You're not alone. This is how it works. The number becomes a bridge between your everyday consciousness and your soul's knowing, a sacred echo. Buddhist philosophy tells us that enlightenment isn't about discovering something new. It's about remembering what's always been true. Numbers help us remember. Mini insight. Every number that repeats is a breadcrumb back to your truest self. So the next time it appears, don't brush it off. Smile at it, acknowledge it, and ask yourself, where am I being guided? Because it's not just a number, it's a map. If you've been following the breadcrumbs, hit that like button. It tells me this is reaching the right people. Decoding the numbers, what they might be telling you. You've probably wondered, what does my number mean? While interpretations can vary, there are certain energetic truths associated with specific numbers that have held up across cultures, spiritual traditions, and intuitive experience. These meanings aren't rules, they're doorways, invitations to reflect more deeply. Let's look at a few examples. The number 1 is about new beginnings, independence. It often shows up when you're being called to step into your power, alone, not lonely, but sovereign. Speaks of partnership, harmony, and duality. It might appear when you're being asked to balance your inner and outer world, or when you're facing an important relationship shift. Is the number of creativity, joy, and divine expression. If 3s are following you, it may be time to share your voice or return to something that brings you childlike wonder. Is foundation, stability, structure. Often it appears when you're being reminded to ground, build, or trust that you are safe, even when things feel uncertain. Is change, movement, the unknown. This number usually follows chaos and reminds you, the breakdown is part of the breakthrough. Holds energy around home, healing, and responsibility. If it's appearing often, your higher self might be asking you to tend to your emotional garden or care for someone with compassion. Is spiritual introspection, solitude. When 7s surround you, it's time to go inward, to listen more than speak, to seek wisdom rather than answers. Represents power, abundance, and karmic cycles. When you see it, ask, where am I being called to level up, and what am I clinging to that's holding me back? Is closure, completion, endings with grace. It signals that a chapter is done and something new is waiting, but only if you're willing to let go. And then there's 11, 22, and other master numbers. Those often carry a sense of divine mission, spiritual responsibility, or profound awakening. When they show up, it's not random, it's your soul shouting, "This moment matters." The number that follows you isn't there to define you. It's there to direct you. Remember, it's not about memorizing meanings. It's about feeling into what that number evokes in you. What thought comes up when you see it? What part of your life feels lit up when it appears? Because that's where your message is hiding. The role of synchronicity in receiving number messages. Carl Jung coined the term synchronicity to describe the experience of meaningful coincidences, events that have no clear cause and effect connection, yet feel deeply significant. Seeing a repeating number at just the right moment, that's synchronicity in motion. It's not a fluke. It's a mirror reflecting your inner world back at you. When synchronicity occurs, something magical happens. Time feels suspended. The ordinary becomes sacred. You feel that something bigger is at play. That's your higher self breaking through the noise. Let's say you've been doubting a major decision. You're walking down the street lost in thought, and a bus passes by with your number on it. At that very moment, your chest tightens, your breath catches. It's not logical, but it feels true. That's the power of synchronicity. Buddhist teachings remind us that there is no true separation between the inner and outer world. What arises in your consciousness arises with the world, not against it. So when your external world starts reflecting your internal questions, pay attention. Repeating numbers are synchronicity distilled into digital form. They're not there to impress you. They're there to align you. Mini insight. Synchronicity is your higher self's way of saying, "You're exactly where you need to be. Keep going." People often ask, "Am I imagining it?" No, you're perceiving something real, but subtle. Your ability to notice synchronicity means you're waking up. The more you notice, the more they appear. And the more they appear, the closer you come to a life that feels guided, not forced. So the next time that number flashes before you in a moment of doubt, don't brush it off. Smile. Your soul is speaking in the only language it knows: mystery. How to respond? When a number repeats, now that you've seen the signs, the question becomes, what do you do with them? Most people notice a repeating number and stop there. They acknowledge it, maybe Google a quick meaning, then move on. But your higher self didn't go through all that effort for a casual glance. That number is an invitation, and it's waiting for your reply. So how do you respond? Start with presence. The moment you see the number, pause. Take a breath. Don't rush past it. Ask yourself, what am I thinking right now? What am I feeling? Often the number appears at a moment of alignment or contradiction. It wants you to notice. Then move into inquiry. What does this number mean for me right now? Not just according to books, but intuitively. Let the answer rise. You'll often be surprised by how clear it is. Next, take a tiny action. If the number feels like it's pushing you to trust, do one small thing that moves you in that direction. If it feels like a call to let go, release something. Numbers love movement. They multiply when you respond. Here's the deeper truth. Your higher self is always sending guidance, but it respects your free will. Numbers are not demands. They're invitations. If you ignore them, they'll come back later. But if you answer, that's when the magic unfolds. A woman once told me she saw 222 every day for 3 weeks but didn't know what it meant. Finally, after a sleepless night, she sat down and wrote, "What do I need to align with?" The answer came, forgiveness. She called someone she hadn't spoken to in years. The numbers stopped appearing. Her heart felt light for the first time in a decade. That's how it works. Mini insight. Repeating numbers aren't instructions. They're mirrors. What you see in them reflects what your soul is ready to do. So next time that number appears, don't just notice it. Engage with it. Ask it. Thank it. Let it pull you back into alignment with who you're becoming. If this has helped you understand your number a little more deeply, leave a like in the comments to let me know you're on this journey. When the numbers stop showing up, what it really means, here's something most people don't talk about. What does it mean when the numbers suddenly stop? At first, you were seeing them everywhere, on clocks, receipts, signs. They were your steady companions, little sparks of the divine showing up just when you needed them. And then one day, nothing. No more 111, no more 555. Silence. It can feel unsettling, like something magical has slipped away. But here's the truth. When the numbers stop, it doesn't mean the connection is broken. It means the message was received. Think of it like this. Your higher self uses numbers as training wheels. When you're uncertain or disconnected, they give you signs to reawaken trust. But once you've absorbed the lesson, once your inner compass is recalibrated, the training wheels come off. The silence is not absence, it's graduation. In Buddhist practice, teachers often fall silent when a student begins to truly internalize the teaching. Silence becomes a form of trust. So if your number has disappeared, reflect instead of worrying. Ask, what did I learn? What shifted in me? Often you'll realize the message has already woven itself into your life. A man once told me he kept seeing 717 during a period of deep inner healing. For months, it was his sign that he was on the right path. Then one day, it was gone. He felt abandoned, until he realized he no longer needed reassurance. He knew he was aligned. The number had done its job. Mini insight. When the signs fade, it's because your soul has caught up to the message. This is where your real power begins, not in needing more signs, but in trusting the guidance you've already received. If the numbers return later, it's not because you failed. It's because a new layer of your journey is beginning. Your higher self will always find a way to reach you, whether through numbers, dreams, or the quiet clarity of your own intuition. Living in alignment, letting numbers guide, not control. Now that you understand the deeper role of repeating numbers, here's the final truth. They're not meant to control you. They're meant to guide you, gently, wisely, lovingly. It's easy to fall into the trap of obsession. You start checking the clock at certain times. You begin anxiously looking for your number, like a divine lottery ticket. And when it doesn't show up, you feel lost. But numbers aren't the answer. They are the reminder. Your higher self is not trying to make you superstitious. It's trying to make you aware. Spiritual maturity means learning to hold the mystery lightly, to feel the presence of guidance without needing it to perform for you, to trust that even in silence, your soul is still speaking. Think of numbers like lighthouses. They don't steer the ship. They simply shine. So live your life. Make your choices. Don't wait for permission from a sign. Instead, let the signs confirm what your intuition already knows. Buddhist wisdom tells us that the ultimate goal is not to rely on external signs, but to awaken the inner knowing that has always been present. The numbers are training you to recognize that inner voice and trust it. Mini insight. Repeating numbers are a reflection of your own alignment, not a replacement for your inner wisdom. Use them as mirrors. Use them as nudges, but don't hand them the steering wheel. When you begin to walk in alignment with your soul, the need for signs begins to fade, not because they've abandoned you, but because you've become the sign. You become the guidance, the message, the number that inspires someone else, and that That's spiritual evolution. If you found your message in the numbers or become one for someone else, let us know in the comments. Your journey might light someone else's path. How to work with repeating numbers in daily life. Now that we've explored the deep, soulful nature of repeating numbers and their role as messages from your higher self, let's ground this wisdom into something usable, something you can carry with you in your daily life. Here are 7 simple yet powerful ways to engage with the numbers that keep showing up. Pause and reflect the moment. You see it, whenever the number appears, stop, even for just a breath. Ask yourself, what was I just thinking? What was I feeling? Often, the number is responding to a thought or emotion you haven't fully acknowledged yet. This brief check-in can reveal hidden patterns or truths waiting to surface. Keep a number journal. Start writing down each time you see your number, where it appeared, how you felt, and what was happening around you. Over time, you'll begin to see emotional or situational patterns. Your higher self communicates with rhythm, and journaling helps decode that rhythm. Use it as a mantra. Anchor when your number appears. Use it as a cue to return to your center. Choose a phrase like, I am aligned, I trust my path, I'm being guided. This turns the moment into a spiritual pause, reinforcing inner trust and presence. Meditate with your number set aside 5 minutes. Close your eyes. Visualize the number, glowing gently in front of you. Ask inwardly, what do you want me to know? Listen not with your mind but with your feeling. Often a word, image, or memory will arise that reveals your next step. Don't obsess. Let it flow. If you find yourself chasing the number, take a step back. Remember, it's a gift, not a requirement. Let it show up naturally. Spiritual signs are meant to meet you, not be hunted. The more you release attachment, the more clearly they appear. Use numbers as decision checkpoints. Before making a tough decision, ask for clarity, and be open to whether or not the number appears. If it does, consider what part of your choice is aligned with the energy that number represents. This isn't fortune-telling. It's about confirming alignment with your soul's guidance. Share the journey, speak about your number. Tell your story. Whether with a friend, in a journal, or online, putting your experience into words strengthens the signal. What we name, we claim. And what we share, we deepen. These tools are not rigid rules. They're spiritual practices, ways of staying awake to the sacred language of your life. Numbers aren't just reminders that you're being guided. They're mirrors that help you see yourself more clearly. The more you listen to them, the more you begin to hear the voice of your higher self in everything, not just in numbers, but in silence, dreams, and moments of quiet clarity. And eventually you'll realize this profound truth. You never needed the numbers. You only needed to remember how to listen. So let's come full circle. That number you keep seeing, it isn't random. It's not luck. It's not superstition. It's a direct, intentional message from the part of you that remembers why you're here. From your higher self. From the silent, infinite intelligence that watches over your life with patience and love. You were never alone. You were never lost. The numbers only appeared to remind you of that. They show up when you need clarity, when you're about to make a choice, when your heart is cracked just wide enough for light to enter. They show up not to control you but to confirm you, to say, yes, you're on the path, keep going. And when you stop needing them, when you trust the still voice inside, when you begin to walk in alignment without the signs, that's when you've truly embodied the message. Because the numbers were never the point. You are the message. Your courage to listen, your willingness to reflect, your choice to live with awareness. That is what transforms numbers from patterns into portals. Buddhist wisdom teaches us to look not outside, but within. And your number? It was always pointing you back to the place that holds the real truth, your heart. So let me leave you with a question. What is your number trying to say to you right now, and are you ready to answer? If this video spoke to something deep inside you, please give it a like. It helps the message reach others on their journey. Subscribe if you want more soul-aligned guidance like this. And if you're ready to go deeper, check out our next video. Why you keep seeing the same dream over and over, and what it's trying to unlock in you. Until next time, trust the signs and trust yourself.